So this is Judy Cohen, and this is Wake Up Call 511. And we've been exploring wise mindfulness, which I want to continue to do along with the other steps on the Noble Eightfold Path. But since we're heading into Thanksgiving in the US, today I'm going to shift and explore gratitude a little bit. And then I'll be off next Thursday for the holiday and see you on December 4th. So I looked up gratitude, good lawyer that I am, Merriam-Webster. It just defines gratitude as thankfulness. But the teachings of mindfulness, the ancient teachings, they come at gratitude with a little more, a little more juice, a little more discernment, a little more juice. They first of all, they distinguish appreciation from gratitude for one thing, and they say that appreciation is a more ordinary state of mind or heart that arises in response to ordinary goodness. It's a good thing, but it's different from gratitude. And then they say that gratitude only arises when three things are present. Someone says or does something that we benefit from. We trust their motives, and we realize they've gone out of their way for us. So without those three elements, the teachings say that this deeper level of thankfulness that's named as gratitude isn't going to arise. And then they also say these two people are hard to find in the world. Which two? It's a lot of question and answer. Which two? The one who is first to do a kindness and the one who is grateful and thankful for a kindness done. Okay, so this gives us even a little bit more information. It tells us that kindness is a condition for gratitude. And not just any kind of kindness, but kindness that goes first and that benefits somebody and that's offered with a trustworthy motive, or maybe we could say also a loving heart. And also that requires some effort for the person offering it. They have to go out a little bit out of their way. And then I also wonder if generosity isn't required too, because for me, it's when I feel generous towards somebody that it's possible to be truly kind. And also mindfulness, right? Mindfulness has to be part of the equation, because how will we know if generosity and kindness are present or be able to summon them if we're not? I mean, if they're not, if we aren't being mindful. So one question I think we can ask is, how can I be the first to do a kindness? Or more colloquially, because it's a world where kindness seems to be in a little bit of short supply. And then there's this trickle-down effect of non-kindness. So what does it take to be the first to do a kindness? Right? Maybe it's as simple and not easy as remembering that we're not as different as we think, right? That we're interconnected, all in this together. In the big picture, maybe that's it. But also, what about on the ground, right? In the moment, what does it take to be kind first? And also, no matter what, as His Holiness instructs. And for me, I would say it's a decision. I wish it were always an automatic default, and it's more of a default now than it once was. And I know people for whom it seems like it is a default. But for me, it's a decision that I have to make, get to make, moment after moment. And I can't say that I make the right decision every time, but at least, and this is where the mindfulness is. I know the option is there, right? To be kind, or the opposite, to hold on to my view or my desire or my ill will, right? So here we are again, the US Thanksgiving. And at the table, how do we work with being kind first? Right? Will we feel that everyone shares our views? And if not, what will we do when desire arises for them to do that? Or when ill will arises when they don't. Feels like the question of the moment. What do we do with these three qualities? Our attachment to our own point of view and to being right about that view, right? Our desire for others to see things the way that we do, and our ill will when they don't. Um, and not only big views, but little ones like how should the table be set, or the turkey or the tofurkey be cooked, and who should sit where, all the stuff that can get caught up in our loving but also impacted hearts, right? Or if we flip the inquiry, how can we be grateful no matter what or who? And then, how do we let gratitude turn into kindness or turn us towards kindness? So flip the inquiry, right? And I mean, one way I know to do that is to start with either the easy stuff or the obvious stuff, you know, gratitude for whatever measure of good health we have right now, and for whatever clarity of mind and sense of humor and connection and joy we have right now. Gratitude for being warm enough and having enough to eat, if we are, and we do. Gratitude for our education, for being able to support our families and pay things forward. Um, and then with all of these, gratitude for the humans, the benefactors in our lives who made those things possible, you know. And if we're tempted, and I'm sometimes tempted to say that we did it on our own, can we look a little more deeply or with more generosity? Because when we were born, I mean, if somebody hadn't been there to feed us and keep us clean and warm, we wouldn't have made it. So, can we call to mind the people who were there in those first few years and be grateful for them? You know, and can we complete the circle of kindness and gratitude by saying something from our hearts that's kind to them or about them? You know, I'm grateful for your sense of responsibility or humor or good judgment or perseverance or love. And can we call to mind our teachers? These are the people who made it possible for us to grow up and learn to read and learn to get along with others and learn to calculate and write and eventually meditate and see things completely differently, who've made it possible for us to wake up. So can we call them to mind and say thank you? Thank you, James. And our friends and acquaintances and colleagues, even the really difficult ones, can we call them to mind and see all the ways they've helped us with loving hearts and small or big sacrifices? And can we be thankful to them and say thank you? And here we go. Even the really, really difficult people in our lives and in the world, right? Can we be grateful for our ability to see them for who they are and for any tiny piece of wisdom they have to offer? Can we soften our hearts but not dull our swords? Can we see delusion and remember we have that too? Or see anger and remember we get angry as well? Or fear? Can we see fear and relate? Can we be grateful that discerning wisdom enables us to see at least something of the truth with an open heart? One of the teachings says, gratitude is the quality that defines what it means to be civilized. So, can we be civilized and also keep our powder dry?